Hi everyone, Arabelle here with Chic Innovator. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about something that I hear all of us talking about. A lot of my friends, you hear it on TV all the time, and people are nervous about it. About what? About longevity.
At a certain point, you kind of saturate your receptors. And
I feel like we're just, really big on our health journey for sure.
I'm going to NAD for the rest of my life and I'm never going to age.
Scientific evidence points to taking a supplement every day. Just swallowing one of those is enough to double your NAD levels in the bloodstream.
About getting older, about what to do. I think most people, though, I hear about them talking about kind of the superficial part. They don't want to lose their hair, they don't want wrinkles, they want to look better. But for me, I think it's so important for all of us to actually be better, to be healthier, to try to combat, aging from the perspective of if you're going to do it, which we all have to do it, right? We're all getting older, is to do it in the healthiest way possible so that we can enjoy life as much as possible. And so what I'd like to do is every once in a while with Chic Innovator, come back to you and talk a little bit about some of the things that are out there. I think today I'd like to talk a little bit about more our physical wellness and how to enhance that and keep us as healthy as possible. And then, we might come back later and talk about some of the other things like that people use to look better and to enhance the way that they look and keep it going for a longer period of time.
You're watching Chic Innovator. Stay tuned for fascinating topics, fascinating people that have style and are innovative. You're watching Chic Innovator. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It's free.
I think one of the things I want to mention to you, and at another point, maybe we can do a session on Chic Innovator, or maybe I can get to meet a lot of you that are following us and supporting us and have subscribed to us. Yes, thank you so much. It is free, so please subscribe. I'd like to maybe show you some of the things that I do for longevity. And one of the big things that I do, and I'll just touch on it today, is meditation for healing, for when I've been very sick, and also some meditation for longevity in the sense that to make sure that my body is functioning at its optimum. Fortunately, a lot of us wait to really take good care of our bodies, of our physical beings until we're sick. And we shouldn't wait till then, right? We should constantly be working on our antibodies so that we can fight disease, eating as healthy as we possibly can. Again, I do a lot of what I do through meditation. It's been helpful to me. I've got a couple of different meditations that I do. Again, I do it for longevity, but I can share with you that I've had a couple of times in my life when I have been very sick, and the meditation and the healing, along with some of the other things that my doctor told me to do, actually have sped up my getting well and healed. One example is during COVID, I broke my wrist in 2 different places, and I was in the hospital. I remember it was Christmas Eve. I ended up breaking it 2 parts. It was horrible. I don't even want to go into it because my family couldn't be there with me. No one could be there because it was COVID. So they took me to the emergency room. And anyway, I ended up doing everything the doctors told me to do, but I ended up healing about 2 weeks earlier. They couldn't believe how quickly the bone healed, and I was completely fine afterwards. I can tell you that I feel that a lot of it was because of the meditation that I do to sort of speed up healing. So to me, mind, body, and soul, the connection, and we talked about rewiring your brain. We did a episode a while back, more for envisioning, the kind of life that you want to have. But this specifically is you can do that for the kind of physical life that you want to have. All right, so let's talk now, though, about longevity. And I think it's, really important. A lot of people hear this and kind of don't understand it. But one of the big things that people talk about when you're talking about longevity is you keep hearing the reduction of inflammation. I remember, I kept hearing about that. And, if you're not a doctor, and again, for anything that you use, please go see your doctor first. But I think a lot of us, hear that the reduction of inflammation is so very important. I agree with that 100%. We'll talk a little bit about what that means. But some of the other things that when you're looking at longevity that people talk about is you want to increase your energy, have your focus, laser focus, and as you get a little bit older, you would tend to lose that focus, so it's the mental side. And then our metabolism. A lot of people's metabolism gets affected as they age. And so to increase longevity, one of the things you also want to look at is your metabolism. How do you maintain it if you've got good metabolism? And thank you, I have good metabolism. How do you maintain it or increase it if it's slowing down? Or work around it with different types of foods so that you're not gaining weight. Improve your skin elasticity, improve your DNA repair. Many of us work, as I mentioned, on the superficial side of it. You want to reduce wrinkles, dark spots. But for many, many individuals, the majority of them, one of the things you should know is that there is a major drop at the age of 30. They say as high as 50% of your NAD, collagen, even cellular repair goes way down. And in many instances, especially the NAD repair, that starts slowing down like 1% per year. So that's crazy. We're going to talk a lot about NAD today, and that is, and I'll explain that in just a second, but that's one of the things that a lot of people are adding into their system so that the loss of it doesn't affect them. And we're going to talk about how can you do that and some of the things that are out there that are really changing the game. What ends up happening is with the major loss that we get, 50% and then 1% per year is the estimated amount, is that you end up increasing the inflammation of your body. So that is really important to know and to try to make sure that that doesn't happen. Why? Because if you have chronic inflammation, a lot of times that is tied to serious heart disease and other things. Let's talk about inflammation. It is normal to have some of it. I mean, you do have some of it. That is your body kind of responding to infections or to disease. And so then it gets inflamed and it calls, sends out inflammation cells. It sends out a message and says, come repair, come fix yourself, right? So some of that is normal. It's normally something mild, though, that happens to your body. But when it becomes chronic and you need to repair it, it becomes something important, as well as inflammation on the brain, which causes us not to be able to focus as much or can cause other things, in your head. That's why you hear so much about inflammation. And so one of the big things that's out there, and that, again, we can come back at a different time and talk about some other tools that are out there, the reduction of inflammation. How do we do that? I think to get into that, one of the things that I'm going to talk about today that I found very interesting is NAD. So the decrease of NAD can cause some of these items that I mentioned to end up happening. And again, what I was told by a couple of medics, doctors, is that age of 30, you lose about 50%. And then after that, you can lose about 1% per year. And it's like, wow, because it affects so many different things. A lot of the things that I mentioned that are the signs of losing your longevity are some of the things that increasing your NAD can possibly affect in a possible way. So what is NAD? It's a naturally occurring coenzyme that's found in every living cell in your body. It plays a key role in energy production. It's one of the things when you start aging, your body gets more tired. And, one of the big things I say to everybody is if your body's tired, let it get some rest. It's my understanding because of the loss of NAD, because of the loss of DNA repair and cell survival, you also, end up getting more tired. Because the levels of NAD are declining so much, cognitive decline, various chronic conditions appear. Again, the inflammation of your body kind of gets out of control because you don't have enough NAD and enough of some of these other things to help keep it in check.
So longevity experts like David Sinclair, PhD at Harvard Medical School, have brought NAD to the public attention in a big way. It's part of a lot of different conversations that we are hearing out there.
I've got super high NAD levels because I've been supplementing for about 7 years now.
So that was the next thing on my list was NAD. Of the people that I know that look freakishly and unusually young for their age that I have met in, say, the last 36 months, I cannot get over how many of them have told me that I'm on NAD. I'm talking about everywhere from a gym to a golf course to a business meeting. And I'm talking about visually, shockingly looking young people. Mainly people in their 50s that look like they could be in their 30s or early 40s to me.
I think that doing like NAD multiple days in a row is fine.
It wouldn't be harmful, but at a certain point you kind of saturate your receptors. And
I feel like we're just, really big on our health journey for sure.
I'm gonna NAD for the rest of my life and I'm never gonna age.
Scientific evidence points to taking a supplement every day. Just swallowing one of those is enough to double your NAD levels in the bloodstream.
And it's now widely available through different things, through IV therapy, supplements, NMN, injections. And I'm going to show you today something I found very interesting. Nasal sprays, but also a machine that actually gets it right into your nose so directly that it goes right into your brain. Its target is to restore youthful cellular function. So what is NAD there for? It's essential for mitochondrial energy production, DNA repair. Levels decrease with age, as we just mentioned, so you're going to get tired and you're going to get other age-related diseases. Your antibodies are going to be less effective. But with NAD, it'll increase your antibodies so you're able to fight off. I've got to tell you, again, I kind of talked about using meditation. And for me, I've, been very lucky, I guess, because there's a lot of diseases that are out there and viruses, including COVID, that I still haven't got. A big part of that is my diet, but I think also a big part of that is the meditation and the self-healing that I do on a very regular basis. Back to NAD. The addition of NAD into your system is claimed, to really help you with focusing, with increasing your metabolism, which we talked about, with basically anti-aging effects. Let's talk about another part that I think is very important with regards to longevity. I kind of touched on it when we were talking about mind and body, is the mind. A lot of times we're looking at our physical selves. A lot of times we're looking at, our beauty and the part, that we don't want wrinkles and all this. But what about your brain? If you're not able, to function at your optimum, you're not going to be able to enjoy life. And hey, what is life without happiness, right? So NAD really helps the brain. So one of the big things that NAD does, it supports neuronal repair, synaptic plasticity, and cognitive performance, something we all want to have top range for as long as possible. It also helps to prevent neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and ALS by reducing stress and inflammation in the brain. Remember that whole discussion that we had about inflammation? Well, this is one of the ways to help reduce inflammation in the brain as well. And also it helps with metabolic health, improves insulin sensitivity, helps manage obesity, actually helps with type 2 diabetes and fat liver, supports healthy lipid and glucose metabolism, and it helps repair DNA. Boosting DNA helps to keep your genome stable and resilient, something very, very important. Another big thing that after 30 we want to make sure that we're focusing on is stem cell regeneration. NAD helps to maintain the function and survival of muscle, neural, and stem cells, which decline with age. It's that anti-inflammatory effect. It reduces chronic inflammation by modulating immune response and suppressing pro-inflammatory cytokines. And it also helps to enhance the body's natural internal process that regulates the sleep-wake cycle. Yes, because that's one of the other things that happens as we begin to age. Our cycle gets thrown off. And NAD is supposed to be one of those things that helps to enhance and keeps you steady on your sleep cycle. Because what is one of the biggest things that helps to make you older or to age? It's lack of sleep. One of the very, very important things. I don't know if any of you remember, but we did have an episode with Dr. Lemke where she talked about, proper sleeping etiquette and kind of what to do before you go to bed to make sure that you're getting the right amount of sleep. I've got to have her back on because I've got to tell you, I think my clock is a little bit off. That's one of the areas that I have a little bit of a problem with. I do want to tell you though that NAD is certainly not a silver bullet. And many of these things that we found that are out there are not by themselves going to work. I think you have to continue to combine them with a good diet. You need to include exercise. And the other thing, socializing, and keeping yourself happy makes a big difference as well. So I think including all of those and combining that. But one of the things that does help is that if you're physically fit, if you're, taking additional supplements, for example, like NAD, that a lot of this research has shown to help, then what ends up happening is that you have more of that energy so that you can go and work out. So one thing supports the other. The other thing with NAD and with some of these other items, like I said, go talk to your doctor, because prolonged use of some of these items or some of the supplements have been found to possibly stimulate, other diseases or cancer. So you have to be careful and balance it out. But here, we're going to show you a little bit of, we've got some footage of me, going through this, and a certain method of NAD where we actually had it injected into the nose. It's really fast. It goes immediately to your brain, and then it's sent out to all the best places in your body so that you're able to absorb it quickly. Different than if you're doing it intravenously, which takes a long time. It's my understanding sometimes people have to go in there and it takes sometimes as long as 4 hours to get it intravenously. And then there's also the pills, the supplements. When you're taking them, you're not quite sure where it's going to go. So this is one of the methods that they say is best. But again, NAD, one of the things to look at for longevity. Please let us know what you think and if it works for you. So let us know on this. Hopefully this has been helpful.
The things I do for our Chic Innovator audience.
I'm actually going to show you my nose with that thing going in it, and then I'll talk to you later about how I feel.
This is gonna help with the taste. It's just a regular mint. I know
So
you
there's
have
a taste to it?
It's kind of like, some people say it's like a medicine taste and others just say it tastes like water. So it just depends. Like to give the mint just in case.
Not like tequila or mezcal? No.
I wish.
So should I?
Yes,
Okay.
so I'll take that. The other thing is the mint helps with your natural reflex so that you don't swallow the solution. It's not toxic, but we don't want you to swallow because then it's going to give you a little burning in your throat. You're still going to feel that because it's your first time.
Okay.
So it's going to be a shock because like I said, you've never had this done before. Mm-hmm. So, you ready?
Okay.
Okay.
So the mint should still be in my mouth.
Yes, so just hold that in your mouth. What you're gonna do is I'll do one nostril at a time. Once I do this side, you're gonna blow your nose. Don't feel like you need to breathe in. It already hit the spot it needs to hit. You just blow your nose and then we'll move on to the next side.
Oh, really? So it doesn't, you don't even have to suck it in.
No, it just sprays. So afterwards, I'll show you where it's
Yeah, because your instinct would be to try to.
Yeah, bring it all in.
Okay. That's crazy. You could narrow in. Oh my God, people are going to see this, but yeah, okay.
Okay, so we're going to start on this side. So I'm going to have you tilt your head back just a little bit.
Okay.
And then you're going to close your eyes because they are going to water. That's normal. This nerve that we're spraying, it controls your tear ducts. So you ready?
Great. All right. Okay.
All right, so I'll do this side first. Okay, go ahead and blow.
It wasn't bad.
Yeah,
Boy,
it's not bad.
I feel it.
Yeah. How it goes down. So it drains down.
It's almost like spicy.
Yeah.
It's funny, but I feel like...
Yeah, so we tell people, I mean, you know, when you get water in your nose, you kind of have that same feeling. It's your brain telling you, hey, I don't think this is supposed to be here. So.
It wasn't too bad, though.
Yeah, it's not bad.
But my left is always worse.
Okay, I'll put it to the test. Let's
Okay.
see. All right, so
And
now,
people are looking down my nose, so...
I guess that's true. They're focused. They're like, what is going on?
Okay.
Okay, we're going to do the next side. Okay. Okay, go ahead and blow your nose. So I'm going to show
And
you
it wasn't
what
bad.
Yeah, it's not. I always tell people, so with this, you get to take out the whole process of getting an IV started, being poked with a needle, and having to sit through that whole time.
Which
with the
I'm not
fluids.
about that.
Yeah, it
At
takes
all. I am
if
not.
you're scared of needles or if
Yeah.
you don't have the time.
Yeah.
So with this, it's quick. You're in and out. I'm going to show you what it looks like inside and really
Okay.
freak you out.
Okay.
But this is why the device works. So it's not
Okay.
just spraying into the normal like nasal cavity like a regular nasal spray would. This is what makes the device different than anything else.
Okay.
So when it goes in your nose, it actually goes this deep. This
Wow.
piece here is engineered specifically to spray up. So it sprays up and it sprays out so that it can actually spray that nerve.
Oh, wow.
So normally what you'll see when you see nasal sprays on the market, and we get a lot of questions about this, nasal sprays have this piece and that's it. So this piece here is normally what you'll see on a regular nasal spray and it just sprays in. But this doesn't just spray like the nose. It actually goes all the way in to spray near your sinuses. There's an itty bitty little nerve back there and that's exactly what we're looking for. So this device is designed to reach that nerve.
Wow.
Very cool.
Which is interesting because I woke up this morning and I had a horrible sore throat, like painful. And I do this meditation for healing and it helped get most of it away. But I was telling them today in the office, I was feeling like like it's leaving my body.
Oh yeah.
But right now, this, it hit the sinus area.
Yeah, you can feel it.
Yeah, so I can feel it, which will probably help eliminate it.
Yeah,
even
so the
more.
nice thing is this is just an added effect. It wasn't an intended effect, but it's something that we noticed. When we actually spray right there, because we are so close to the sinuses, we actually open up your sinuses.
Oh, yeah.
So for 24 hours, you'll feel like a lot more open and awake.
No, and I feel this, whatever I had in there is...
Kind of draining out.
Yeah.
So people will come in and they'll always say,
Oh,
I'll tell them
dinner's
to blow
going to be
their nose.
interesting.
Yes.
I'm gonna be like,
But I'll tell people, blow your nose before. They're like, I have nothing. I never have anything to blow. Like, I'll try. And then at the end, they're doing this. They're able to blow their nose finally because it just opens everything up.
Okay.
Yeah, you were going to be the star of the show at dinner. You're going to be the talker
I
and
know.
the energetic one.
Wow, I mean, this is pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
So it's cool. It's the new way to get NAD.
Yeah. I think it's such a much better... I can't even imagine the other.
Yeah,
for
with the
other.
IV. So we tell a lot of people IV was just, the first generation of NAD. That's the way we started it. So this is just the new way. We've just revolutionized how you get it done.
Just for clarification, I am currently not utilizing this procedure.
I'm going to touch on a couple of other things that a lot of other people are using out there. I've looked into them and, some of them help quite a bit. A lot of these things that now they're finding out medically are used to increase longevity. A lot of them came from the sports world because athletes get hurt quite a bit. And so what ended up happening is doctors were trying to find ways to repair certain parts of their bodies, muscles, joints, etc. And so then they came up with some of these methods, and now people are using them overall because they have found that they worked. They help repair your body, but again, one of the things, if you remember, inflammation comes out, like if you damage or hurt or affect a certain area, inflammation will take place, and then your body calls to action your antibodies, or it calls to action your blood cells, etc., to repair, and that ends up increasing collagen and NAD and some of these other things to come out to help repair. It's harder the older you are or the less that you've taken care of yourself, but that's where some of these ideas have come from. So let me give you a few more, and then down the road, I would love to go more into depth into some of these because I think they are important. And again, it's a good way for us to talk about keeping our bodies healthy as possible. Laser therapy. So laser therapy has become a very popular, non-invasive option for longevity. Regenerates your body, so it's under regenerative medicine, and consists of laser and red light therapies. It's pretty popular, and a lot of places have it now. You don't have to go to a medical spa for it. I know that, some friends that I know that have even sun tanning places, have it. So this technology is widely used to regenerate joint health, muscle recovery, and it's praised for its potential to activate cellular repair mechanisms without damaging the tissue. I know I've used it in the past when I've gotten hurt in certain areas. I tend to like sports or like being active, and yes, I have hurt myself. So it's anti-inflammatory and circulation boosting, and it's pretty easy now to find. Again, this is one thing that's regenerative and that a lot of people are using, and so we can talk about it a little bit more, but it really targets muscles and joints, and it's often marketed now for anti-aging and for pain relief. It also, though, which I kind of like the idea of that, may also help to stimulate blood circulation and mitochondrial functions of the body, considered non-invasive and minimal recovery time. So this is one way to kind of look at something that might be helpful. It's actually relatively low cost and it's easily available. One of the other things that's out there that a lot of people use this for, the red light therapy that I just mentioned, is also for some of the more superficial things that we talked about. So it enhances circulation, vascular health. A lot of people use red light therapy because it stimulates and it produces collagen, hyaluronic acid. It improves your skin elasticity, helps reduce wrinkles. It speeds wound healing. There's another use though, and that is it penetrates the skull, so it helps to improve blood flow, which helps in many instances for hair growth. And a lot of people are using it for that, as well as to reduce stress. And that's one of the things I want to talk about. I have a lot of stress in my life, but I kind of create the stress because I have businesses, I have a lot of activities. It's things that I love to do, and so I tend to keep pretty calm and cool through it all. But I mean, I think overall there is some stress that's in there. I tend to enjoy it. I tend to do well, but I think what helps me is, again, the meditation, breathing, staying focused. But for a lot of people, stress can really, really age you. And so this is also one of the ways to try to, relax you a little bit. It reduces oxidative stress, promoting neurogenesis and offering protection against age-related cognitive decline. So this can be very, very helpful. So what's the bottom line on red and near infrared light therapy? Well, the things that it promotes a lot is re-energizes cells via enhanced ATP, dial down the chronic inflammation, that big inflammation thing that we're talking about that seems to affect people in so many ways. This is one way to combat it. It supports skin and tissue health, boosts brain resilience, and it helps improve sleep quality. Remember, lack of sleep, that's one of the biggest agers that is out there. They say to use it consistently a couple of times a week and helps to really expand your health span, not just your lifespan. And that's what we're going for, isn't it? Your health span, not just your lifespan. We want you to live a happy life, and the best way to do it is to be healthy. Last one I want to touch on, and there's so many more that are out there, but I think this is really interesting, is plasma injections and stem cells. So I've actually used this. My mom has used this as well. And again, this sort of came out of, as I mentioned earlier, the sports world. A lot of athletes, my goodness, it's been over 20 years, they'd get hurt, and so they would, try to figure out how to make them healthier and how to repair, because a lot of them, have damaged areas. I keep touching my shoulder because my shoulder's been hurting, but their legs, their knees, etc. And one of the ways that they came up with was with plasma injections and stem cells. So this is one way. There's more advanced treatments. It's gotten even more and more advanced throughout the years. and it's called PRP. I think a lot of people have heard of this as well. It was unique, I think, but now you're finding more and more of it. One thing, though, that everything that I've heard and I've read about it is plant-based stem cells, which really help to repair, and they stimulate human stem cells. And the plasma injections, it's your own plasma, it's made from your own blood. But one of the things that I keep hearing is that you've got to make sure that your blood is healthy. So I've actually seen my blood and the separation of the plasma, and thank goodness I don't have a lot of fat in my diet, and it actually shows up. It's kind of interesting to see that if you see a lot of particles in there, you can actually see when people have very fatty diets, and it actually shows up in the plasma. But if you don't have healthy plasma, from what I understand from some doctors, it's not the best thing then to use to help repair your system, because you're just injecting something that it's not healthy. So that might be something that you might want to go and talk to your doctor about and make sure that your plasma is healthy enough to be able to be used. So regarding stem cell and some of the key benefits, and in this instance, we're talking about plant-based stem cell, but stem cell as well. So you can actually have growth of new cartilage, tendons, ligaments, or bones, especially helpful in degenerative joint diseases like osteoarthritis, which can be very, very painful, and can actually help with the pain reduction of that. You can reduce chronic joint, back, or tendon pain. I can tell you sometimes I get bad back pain, so many people have used it for that. I know my mom had severe pain in one of her shoulders, and it helped a lot with that. They use both plasma with stem cell, plant-based stem cell in her instance, and it was quite helpful. Took quite a bit to get there. I think she received it for several months, but it was very helpful. And again, one of the key things is that it's anti-inflammatory. Stem cells modulate the immune system, reducing chronic inflammation in the treated areas. Again, so much of it goes back to reducing inflammation. And it helps with faster recovery. Again, I mentioned to you that a lot of this came from the sports world because they needed to reduce the recovery time. And so some of these things help. So what are the benefits of PRP plasma? What are the key benefits, including, adding in the stem cells? So it accelerates the healing process, so reduces pain and inflammation, and it's safe and natural. Again, it's my understanding that, you want to make sure that you're healthy, right? Because you're re-injecting the plasma in you. So again, check with your doctor. In many instances, you can get it to help improve your hair growth, skin rejuvenation, and combining it with the stem cells helps to increase the regenerative effects and helps you to recoup much faster and to heal much faster. And so we've touched on a little bit of some of the things that are out there with regards to longevity. I would love to talk more about it. It is a conversation that I think is ongoing with many of my friends and just a lot that I'm reading out there. Again, from my perspective, it's more about living a healthy, happy life. People want to look good. Yes, I think that is important, but I think internally being happy will also help you look good and help you exude great energy. So I'm hoping that this has helped a little bit. We're going to talk about this a little bit more on Chic Innovator. Please make sure to follow us and subscribe and send us a like and send us some comments if you can. We love to hear from you and we love to hear ideas. And if you have more ideas on longevity, we're going to be touching on them. So please continue to join us. And thank you again for your support. Our numbers have been growing. We're so excited about it. And again, thank you and happy, healthy life.
Thanks for watching Chic Innovator. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. It's free.